I have less than 30 minutes before my class starts. And we're gonna see if I can film this whole thing in that time. Okay. Hi, welcome back to Tales of a Collegiate Nobody. My name's not Quinn, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I have a very important question to ask you, and I need you to think very carefully about your answer, because there is an objectively right one, okay? Are you ready? Are you in the right headspace? Right. This is also kind of a time-sensitive question, so I'm gonna need something relatively quickly. Alright, what is the best lightsaber color? Because I was just talking to my friend about this, and now I'm thinking about it with a certain amount of, urgency for reasons. But I mean, there's so many to choose from. You've got your classic green, your blue, your light blue, your orange, your pink, your red, your what? Hang on, pink? Is that allowed? According to Wikipedia, yes, it's allowed, but I don't know, it just doesn't sit right, like, morally with me. Pink, really? As I'm sure you well know, lightsabers get their color by way of kyber crystals, a tiny gem-like power stone that sits in the core of each saber. What's cool about kyber is that it's actually a semi-sentient, light-aligned being. I don't know, it's a semi-sentient rock, which is cool, and a whole other kettle of fish we will have to fry some other time. But the point is that the crystals are paired with the wielder. It's very much a, the crystal chooses the Jedi type situation. And I do mean Jedi, because while kyber is used in all lightsabers, the naturally occurring stuff is clear in color and light-aligned, which means it needs to be corrupted or synthesized in order to be used for the dark. So the personality, if you will, of the crystal and the Jedi influences the saber's color. According to Wikipedia, again, back in the old days the colors meant different things. Blue for Jedi Guardians, who used the Force on a physical level, which I think means they, like, moved rocks and stuff with their minds. I don't really know. Green for consulars. Consulars? Consulars. I don't know.
Consular.
They tended towards meditation and fighting the dark at its source, whatever that means, and yellow for sentinels, those who walked the balance between study and combat. As time went on, though, those distinctions sort of fell out of use, especially as we get closer and closer to the Great Purge. Once we get to that point, which is where the movies pick up, pretty much the only source of kyber is the Crystal Caves of Ilium, and color choice is a purely aesthetic thing on the Jedi's part. After the fall of the Order, well, let's just say kyber became very hard to find, and so new saber users didn't exactly have the freedom to be picky about colors. So, pink? I mean, I can sort of see it, I suppose. It's a bit non-traditional, but I mean, we've got Mace Windu's saber in canon, so it's not a super big stretch to go with pink. But actually, the cool thing about that saber is that it, like, makes sense Watsonianly. Master Windu, no, hang on, I'm sorry. We're gonna have to talk about saber forms real quickly. I'm so sorry. How do I say this simply? Listen, lightsaber users are instructed in a variety of lightsaber forms, each with its own hallmarks and connections to the Force. Jedi Masters master a few forms each. It's more complicated than that, I swear, but I'm trying to cut down on time here. Basically, she chose the simplest. It's the one most focused on disarming your opponent, and is the first one taught to Padawans, the one that serves as the basis for the rest of the forms. There's half a dozen articles on Wikipedia if you're interested to know more. And a car just drove by my window, and I'm sure you could hear that. I don't really want to refilm that, though, so we're gonna keep going. The cool thing about this is that the further you go along, the forms begin to use the Force in less and less subtle ways. Ataru, for example, Form 4, leans heavily on the use of the Force as a means to enhance one's speed and acrobatics. Once you get all the way up to Form 7, the Force is being used in both body and mind, and for that reason, it's considered the most exhausting form, both mentally and physically. The Juyo variant of Form 7 is aggressive and relentless, requiring the practitioner to draw on their own anger to fuel the onslaught, which is why it's considered controversial among the Jedi Order. Juyo brings the user right up to the edge of the dark side and oftentimes results in a fall, which means that there aren't very many Jedi that practice it. But guess what? There's another variant of Form 7, one that still draws on those negative emotions, but requires that the user not give in to them. Do you want to take a guess at who the only known master, and coincidentally inventor, of this variant is? Just like a stab in the dark. Yeah, it's Mace Windu. The only dude with a purple lightsaber. Okay, imagine with me, you are an artist, and you've been tasked with developing this character. In the universe that you're working in, blue has been established as the good guy color, and red is the bad guy color. Got it? Okay. This character that you're developing fights with a style that is halfway between good and bad. It walks that borderline, and you need to assign them a thematically appropriate color. What do you pick? Would it happen to be purple? Halfway between blue and red, in the same way that Vapad walks that little borderline between the light and the dark side of the Force? Like, I understand that probably this is unintentional or has been, like, worked in to make Samuel L. Jackson's purple lightsaber color choice have more meaning, like, retroactively, but that doesn't make it any less cool. Like, ugh. Themes, man. They get me. What was the original topic of this video? What were we talking about before? Ah, one moment. Which is the best lightsaber color? Now, I think we've established that it's up to the user and the crystal's bond or whatever, and it's different for every person, but obviously, the correct answer, the most objectively right one, is green. Obviously, because Luke Skywalker's lightsaber is green, and Luke is awesome, so obviously, green is the only correct and proper choice. The perfect response to this question. Obviously. We did it! Okay, well, that is all that I have for today. I'm gonna go play with this. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you again sometime soon.